Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and our back to school series. You asked for this video, so here it is. Today we are going to talk about must-have reference books. I am going to take you on a tour of my reference bookshelf, all of the books that I have collected and found helpful after 9 years of homeschooling. So grab some coffee and let's jump in. So for those of you who are new around here, my name is Sarah and I have 5 children. They range in age all the way from 0 to 13. I have a teenager, I have a toddler, I have a newborn, I have a couple elementary school kids. I have quite the age range of kids. And we have been homeschooling for 9 years now. It's mind-boggling. Even when I say that out loud, it has gone so fast. I can't believe we're approaching a decade of homeschooling, but here it is. So today I'm going to share with you my favorites of reference books that I have collected for my kids through their elementary and middle school years. I am sure as we head into high school, I will probably add to this shelf and I will make sure to keep you updated along the way. But today I just want to offer you a really good place to start. Also, let me preface this video with the idea that I think it is really helpful for you to have these categories of books in your homeschool, not necessarily these specific titles. I will make sure to link all of the titles below in the description box, but when I talk about a dictionary, I'm going to share with you the dictionary that I have found the most helpful. I'm sure there are other dictionaries out there that might fit your family a little bit better. So just make sure you do your research. I hope that the suggestions that I provide today help you find a good fit for your family. The very first reference book that I ever purchased for my homeschool was this Encyclopedia of Animals by D.K. This book is great. It has awesome photos of animals and really just basic information in it. My kids have used this year after year. I originally purchased it for them when we started in preschool, kindergarten, just doing some basic science, animal research, and I purchased this book just to help go along with what we were studying in science. And honestly, it has been invaluable. I've looked at a lot of different animal encyclopedias, and this is by far my absolute favorite. This animal encyclopedia is organized in alphabetical order. So you start with ants, apes, anteaters, and then it ends with worms and zebras. So this is really helpful just to be able to be used as a quick reference guide. You can very easily find the animal you are looking for without having to search the index or the table of contents. On the topic of animals, I would also really encourage you to look into different field guides. There are animal field guides, plant field guides, all kinds of field guides. Often they are organized by state. My kids and I did a year, maybe a little bit more, study on birds. This field guide was just so helpful. We used it on almost a daily basis to help us identify birds in our backyard. It has really nice big pictures and just very basic information about each type of bird. It goes through and tells you the size, the difference between males and females, what kind of nest they create, their eggs, how they migrate, what type of food they eat, and then even gives you other birds to compare them to. So I would definitely tell you to look into specific field guides, especially if you're going to be studying plants this year or birds this year or a certain type of science. Another great thing about field guides is that they are handheld. They're small. You can throw them in your nature journal backpack, take them on the road with you, and just really keep them at hand all the time. Okay, so while we are talking about science, I'm going to direct you to the Usborne Science Encyclopedia. I have talked about this in videos previously, but guys, I love this encyclopedia. It is organized really well. It has lots of information that is basic enough for your elementary school kids, but also challenging enough for middle school, I think all the way up into high school. It is really colorful. It has a mix of photos and hand-drawn illustrations. We have used this a ton alongside of our Gather Round studies, and it is just a wonderful supplement to any science that you are studying in your homeschool. Next, let's move into history, and oh my gosh, this is a mammoth book here, the Kingfisher History Encyclopedia. This is the 3rd edition, and I bought this when my kids were, I think, around 1st, 2nd grade area, when we were studying Story of the World. This history encyclopedia goes in chronological order, and it starts with an entry about the first humans in 40,000 to 10,000 BC, and it ends in the 2000s with the War on Terror. So you're covering a lot of history in here. This book covers a wide range of subjects from all of world history. It has a really great balance between photos, pictures, maps, and the actual text and information. It is very colorful. It gives you, just so much information and so many pictures. This is obviously not written from a biblical Christian perspective. This is definitely a secular book, so just keep that in mind if you maybe are going to want to have something a little bit more creation-based or something like that. This is definitely a secular book. I found this book really helpful for my visual learner. Sometimes history can be full of a lot of auditory teaching and not as much visual. So having this book on our reference shelf just for my kids to be able to pull out and kind of add some extra information as well as some really great illustrations has been really, really helpful. While we are on the topic of history, I also have enjoyed this D.K. Smithsonian Children's Encyclopedia of American History. I actually was given this book by a friend of mine who had more than one of them, which was so nice of her. This book has been great paired with our years where we have focused more on U.S. history studies. It is written in chronological order, and it starts in around 1000 AD and goes all the way up to, I think, about 2014, 2015 area. The last entry I have in here has Barack Obama as president. It has a lot of maps and just really, really a great balance between illustrations and textual content. Since this is a children's encyclopedia and not just a run-of-the-mill encyclopedia, I would definitely say that this is geared more for, preschool through about 6th grade or so. Not that older kids couldn't get a lot out of this, but I would definitely say it's written more towards a younger age group. We are talking about history, I also wanted to talk about timelines. I have a timeline book that I'm going to show you in a moment that I love for my reference shelf, but I also wanted to just add in here, I purchased this market timeline of history. I bought this at a homeschool conference several years ago. The one I purchased, we wore out, and actually I just bought this one this year to replace our old one. It is a laminated timeline that you can use dry erase markers or wet erase markers on to write different events as you go through history. It starts in 4000 BC and goes all the way to, oh gosh, past 2150, so it really goes far into the future. This is a two-sided laminated poster. This side is tan and dated. The other side is white and undated. And so I have just found this in particular really helpful to go along with our history and timeline studies. We have used it almost every year of our homeschool, and so I would definitely put it in the reference category. Now, the timeline book that I want to talk to you about is called Big Book of History, a 15-foot fold-out timeline from creation to modern computers. I bought this from the Answers and Genesis Masters Books booth at a conference several years ago, and just like the title describes, this has a huge fold-out timeline that you can use, and you can see here it's really long. It's huge. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. You can see it has lots of pictures, dates, information, all kinds of just really great stuff. It says it is a Christian perspective timeline. My kids like to get this out and just, open it up all the way down across the floor. It's actually so long, it's kind of difficult to fit in one room unless you have a really large living room or something. But I would definitely encourage you to purchase this. This is just such a fun timeline reference to go along with your homeschool. Moving into geography, I also have a Children's Illustrated World Atlas. This one is done by DK, and this is actually a newer purchase for me. I haven't had this one very long. I just bought this the last school year. When you open up the cover, it has a nice big world map. It is organized by location. It starts with a full snapshot of the world and then moves on to each continent individually. So you can see here that it starts in North America. It has different flags and images that you can look at here, and then it goes into different countries. Starting here, it has Western Canada and Alaska, moves into Eastern Canada. As you can see, it not only has maps, but it has other information, figures throughout history, great information about different locations, crops, cities, all kinds of information. Again, this is just a fantastic reference tool for you to use in your homeschool. Some of the pages in this atlas are even double paged where you need to turn the book vertically, which is really fun. And again, I love the balance of maps along with other information and textual information to go along about each location. While we're talking about maps, the other thing I would really encourage you to purchase for your homeschool is either a globe or some large printed maps. I actually, for years and years, have used different placemats that you can purchase, at toy stores, at homeschool conventions, a lot of different places. But I like these laminated placemats. Sometimes I'll hang them up on the walls as a visual. Sometimes we'll use them as placemats on our homeschool table. Because they're laminated, you can use dry erase markers on them to do some memory work practice, but I really love having different laminated placemats to use as visuals or just other reference guides in our homeschool. I do this with maps. I have one for the presidents. I have one with insects and ocean animals and Oh my gosh, if you look into any type of Google search of educational placemats, you will find a lot. So I would definitely encourage you to pick those up as you are studying different things in your homeschool. You will use them over and over and over again. Okay, so for language, obviously a dictionary is the first place to start. And wow, this is a mammoth one here. This is the DK Merriam-Webster's Children's Dictionary. I purchased a children's dictionary on purpose. We bought this right around when my oldest child was really starting to understand the concept of reading and writing. So about, second grade area, when we were starting to expand vocabulary a little bit. And I wanted a dictionary that was illustrated, but also safe for children, wasn't going to have unnecessary words that we were not ready to cover yet. I just really wanted some basics. This dictionary has served us really well. We've had it for probably 5, maybe 6 years now, and it has been well used. I'll give you a little view of some of the different pages. As you can see, it gives you vocabulary words in bold with just very basic definitions, maybe 1 or 2 definitions for each word. There are not illustrations to go with every single word, just some main key ones or ones that are really interesting, as you can see here. It is a really great introduction to a dictionary for your children, and again, it kind of gives you that confidence so you don't have to worry about words maybe that you're not ready to cover yet with your younger children. While we're talking about language, the next thing I'm going to talk about is a thesaurus. This is the American Heritage Children's Thesaurus, and it's an updated edition that says it would be really great for grades 3 to 6 or ages 8 to 12. I bought this one because just a homeschool friend of mine recommended it, so I went with her recommendation, and it has worked really well. It goes really nicely with the dictionary we have. This thesaurus is nice and bright and colorful. It by no means has illustrations on every single page, maybe just one small one here or there. It just provides key synonyms for each word. It by no means will overwhelm your child with 50 synonyms that they have to pick from for each word. So my kids have found this really helpful as they have been learning IEW and branching out and doing their own independent writing. This is a book we definitely use at least once a week. We tend to cover the arts during our morning basket time, and sometime I may do a video completely devoted to that. But in the meantime, here are some of my favorite reference books for the arts. Okay guys, well that is it. That is my entire reference shelf. As I said earlier, I'm sure I will be adding some new resources to this shelf in the years to come, but these are just the basics, the things that I use on a regular basis. If you enjoyed today's video, please give it a thumbs up, like it below, and leave me a comment. Tell me what reference books you keep on your shelf at your home. Tell me the titles that you can't live without, are must-haves in your homeschool. I would love to hear about it. And this video today is part of my back to school series, so if you haven't done so already, hit that red subscribe button and subscribe to my channel. There are going to be new videos about homeschool and education in the coming week. I hope that you are enjoying the beginning of your school year. See you later.